Hey, Peter Navarro here. We're going to do the podcast, set the stage. There's me with the trade team during the Trump years and the Chinese side smiling, trying to delay us. So here's the podcast. Stop talking with Communist China. Start defending America. Veni, vidi, vici. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken came to Beijing, saw and kowtowed to Xi Jinping, and yet another American diplomat was conquered by Communist China's endless delay negotiating strategy. I know this negotiating strategy all too well from my 4 years in the Trump White House, trying to negotiate an end to China's unfair trade, cyber attacks on America, crushing of Hong Kong, and various other forms of aggression and Chinese imperialism. Indeed, on more than one occasion, I sat across the table from stone-faced diplomatic dalliers and Xi Jinping himself, knowing that their only goal was to induce more delay in any U.S. definitive action. In his latest display of diplomatic impotence, the deepness of Blinken's kowtow was startling. Blinken needlessly renounced any U.S. support for Taiwan's independence. He also made the absurd claim, despite abundant evidence to the contrary, that, quote, China's broad economic success is also in our interest, unquote. Memo to the Biden regime. Communist China continues its relentless economic aggression against the United States, which has already lost tens of thousands of factories and millions of jobs to what I have accurately described as China's 7 deadly sins. These sins begin with the relentless hacking of America's businesses, government, and yes, personal computers. They include massive intellectual property theft, counterfeiting and piracy, the forced transfer of American technology in exchange for market access to Communist China, equally massive government subsidies that cripple the ability of American businesses to fairly compete, state-owned enterprises that use predatory pricing to crush foreign competitors, and a highly corrosive currency manipulation. Last and most deadly, Communist China continues to export tons upon tons and barrels upon barrels of the toxic chemicals used by the Mexican drug cartels to produce the fentanyl that is now killing over 50,000 American souls a year. In the face of this relentless aggression, there is really nothing to negotiate about on the economy. If China doesn't immediately cease this aggression, the U.S. must equally immediately begin to decouple, not de-risk and diversify, as the Blinken-Biden kowtow would have it. Along these lines, there is also nothing to negotiate with respect to the Trump tariffs I helped design. They remain in place, and if anything, they should be raised and extended to other products. These Trump tariffs must endure because Communist China continues to commit its 7 deadly sins of economic aggression. As for Xi Jinping's arming of the Russian military to crush Ukraine, Blinken tiptoed around it. This is nothing short of tragic because here's the real game afoot. Xi's cooperation with Putin's Russian bear is his own quid pro quo for Russian support of what will inevitably be Communist China's invasion of Taiwan. Inevitable, that is, unless Taiwan peacefully submits to going under the Communist Chinese boot. There is likewise nothing to negotiate with respect to Communist China's human rights abuses. The Chinese Communist Party is committed to cultural genocide and ethnic cleansing in Xinjiang and Tibet, and it will brook no interference whatsoever in this brutality, even as it goes on censoring Christians and slaughtering Falun Gong practitioners. Of course, if American negotiators even dare raise this particular issue, the Communist Chinese will throw back in our face all of the various racial and religious divides in our country, as if there were any moral equivalence there. There isn't. Finally, there are the very alarming issues of a massive spy balloon that flew across our country's sensitive military installations and the incredibly dangerous Cuban fortress Communist China is now building. Neither were even mentioned in Blinken's presser. This was a huge oversight, as the Cuba fort, in particular, poses an existential threat. It will be used not just to monitor American communications and surveil our shipping traffic, but to also launch offensive cyber and electronic warfare attacks against our networks and infrastructure should our two countries ever go on war footing, e.g., over Taiwan. Here, we should simply tell Communist China to get the Hades out of Cuba and don't expect anything in return. Instead of drawing such red lines in the Tiananmen Square sand, Blinken crossed the Biden line yet again from strength into a show of American weakness. Perhaps this is how Rome fell. Peter Navarro, out. And please be sure to visit my Substack at www.peternavarro.substack.com. That's www.peternavarro.substack.com. I think you'll like this Substack a lot. It's got great hard-hitting stuff on the economy, Communist China, as you just witnessed, and also all things Trump 2024. Peter Navarro, we'll see you next time.
Look around and tell me what you see. Every day, more people in the street. Said I used to work in a factory. Right now, I don't work for anything. It's not me, but my family I wish to feed. Not much, 'cause we've got simple needs. Too bad they sent our jobs away. As the CEOs get richer and our jobs all move offshore, go to the store and spend our money. Send all the dollars overseas. This ain't the land of milk and honey. This is the land of trade and greed. My brother got his college degree. He dreamed of running a factory. Now he's back home, living with mom again. 'Cause there's no bright future for a working man like him. Oh, go to the store and spend our money. Send our dollars overseas. And this ain't the land of milk and honey. This is the land of trade and greed. We go to the store and spend our money. Yeah. Send our dollars overseas. Whoa, this was the land of milk and honey. And now it's the land of trade